What's going on, everybody? This is Anthony Reeves, and I'm here to talk to you about another tip to help you with your Social Security case. Today is dealing with should you go back to work. I'm going to tell you this comes up quite often because invariably the Social Security process takes anywhere from 2 months to 2 years. Of course, you and I both know your bills ain't going to get paid during that time period while you're waiting. So then at some point during the disability process, you're going to come to the realization that you've got to make a tough choice. Should you go back to work? And it's what I tell people, to go back to work or not go back to work. That is the question. Well, here's the issue. If you're not working, that does not necessarily mean your case is going to get better. Sometimes people feel, well, I'm not going to go to work because they might hurt my Social Security claim. And I have to remind them, just because you're not working does not necessarily mean that that's going to be evidence to indicate that you're disabled, because you could be able to work and just choose not to work because you're sitting there waiting on your disability check. So I tell people, keep that in the back of your mind. Just like in the same breath, just because you decide to go back to work does not necessarily mean that's going to kill your case. Everybody's situation is different, and I tell people all the time, you've got to make some hard choices. It's a tough economy. And invariably, you're going to be put in a position of having to decide at what point do I keep waiting or do I give it a shot. First of all, if you decide to go back, here's one question most people ask me all the time. How will this affect my case? Well, the first thing I tell people is don't worry about how it will. Your first thing is, will it? And the reality is it will. Because a lot of things will be kept into play, whether or not you were able to find a job. If you found a job, how long you were able to do the job. If you found a job and you're doing it, what were you doing it? Were you doing it at the same level as you were doing it previously in terms of another job? Do you have to take more breaks than normal? Are you calling in sick? Are you leaving work early? Are you getting off early? Are you getting there late? All those things come into play because those may be indications of whether or not you can do work in the future, and it may be useful for your Social Security claim. So I always tell people the first thing is, will it? Now the thing is how? Well, depends on the type of case. If you're applying for disability insurance benefits, which is really you're applying for your disability based on your file, then your earnings that you acquire is not going to necessarily kill your case or hurt your case a whole lot. However, if you're applying for what we call supplemental security income, it's a little different. Any earnings that you acquire is going to basically hit against any benefits you receive if you receive SSI. That's one thing. Second of all, depending on how long you work, may also play a big part on your period of disability. Here's the point. Under the regulations, you have to demonstrate that your condition has disabled you from being able to perform work on a substantial level, and a gainful level, for 12 months or more, or can be reasonably be expected to keep you out 12 months or more, which means this. Let's say you were in a nasty car accident and you get hurt today, and the doctors are like, oh, you're going to be out of commission for several months, maybe even longer. Well, do you have to wait 12 months and then apply? No. You can apply now, and then basically you're saying that your condition is going to keep you out 12. Well, let's say 7, 8, 9 months from now, you just get a little better and you decide to go back to work. Well, does that affect your disability because you have to have at least 12 months? The first month, probably not. Second month, probably not. Once you start getting into the third month of consistent work, now there's going to be concerns that you're working long enough whereby the amount of time that you've worked may constitute actually returning back to work successfully, as opposed to what we call an unsuccessful work attempt. Now, I'm oversimplifying it here, so there's a lot of things that come into play. Because if you go back to work for your cousin who is hooking you up even though you're not coming to work every day, it's a little bit different than if you're working for Home Depot or working over at the grocery store. So you have to keep all those things in mind. Also, and please forgive me because I'm looking at my little cheat sheet, no shame in my game. When you're looking at going back to work, sometimes people try to be slick. One of the reasons why Social Security sends a boatload of paperwork and have people filling out forms is that it's a great way for them to check consistency. So let's say you apply for disability and you are working under the table. And for those of you who are like, what do you mean by working under the table? That means you're working and you are not paying taxes. That means people are paying you cash. But you don't tell Social Security. You keep that to yourself because you don't want it to hurt your case. And people know that you're doing it. So you send the form. Social Security sends the form to one of the people who know you. And they mention on there, yeah, he works a couple hours a day, no big deal. Now you're being slick, and all of a sudden, somebody has blown the whistle on you without even trying to. But because you didn't come forth and you weren't honest, now you're looking now your case is looking suspect. Your credibility is at issue. I always tell people the error on the side of being conservative. Couple of things. If you're thinking about going back to work, the moment you get a job, let Social Security know. The moment you can't do it anymore, let them know. They're going to know from your earnings anyway. It's always good to be straightforward and not run game, because at the end of the day, game can mess you up in the long run. Trust me when I tell you. Running dirty in Social Security, it's a federal agency, is never a smart thing. If you have any more questions, because I know I've gone over a lot, and some of the things I may have talked about might be a little confusing, but if you have any questions, please reply. You can always go to my blog, which is legalbeat.anthonyreeves.com, or you can go to my website, www.reevesfirm.com. You can go to my blog, post a response. You can post a comment right here on YouTube, or more importantly, shoot me an email at Anthony@reevesfirm, and that's REEVESFIRM.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Hopefully this will help you if you're thinking about going back to work. Have a great day.